Well, in one inquiry after another, we've heard employees and public servants having to explain away their actions after they were acting under orders from someone else in the hierarchy. Phumelele Nzimande is a commissioner at the Public Service Commission, is here to explain the measures that they're going to be put in place to prevent civil servants from breaking the law. Madam Commissioner, good evening to you. Thank you for your time on the Pulse tonight. What are you trying to do here?
Thank you for having me, Stephen. Stephen, you'll recall that September is actually Public Service Month in South Africa. So although today was the 1st of October, but this activity really was one of the many that we use usually during Public Service Month to go back to the basics. Like today, we had the Forum of Directors General, HODs, senior public servants, other colleagues in other constitutional bodies, coming together because we believe that everything that is going wrong in this public administration space can actually be traced back to one or two of the constitutional values that maybe we have forgotten or we've opted not to remember or not to implement. So today it was about really revisiting the constitutional values and principles in Chapter 1 of the Constitution and Section 195, which is what underpins the public service and its role in contributing to providing quality service and improving lives in our country.
We've seen, and your documents make reference to this, you know, the sort of collapse is the word that some people use, perhaps the decline in some institutions is a better word. It must have an impact on public servants. I mean, what do they say to you about that?
There are a number of things that impact negatively on the public servants. Some of it, they express it in the form of grievances which they bring before the Commission, because the Commission also has a mandate to also resolve the grievances that the public servants have in the space. But some of it, you're seeing it playing itself out openly, even in the many commissions that have unfolded before us. Some of the things that come out, for example, is just the lack of good human resource practices in public administration, whether in the area of recruitment or of quality, people with quality skills, or even on the day-to-day interactions amongst the staff members themselves, or in relation to the people they report to, but most importantly, in the way that their relationships and the interface with the citizens. So you find, for example, that what has tended to happen is that the way that the public servants work, they've tended to be quite mechanical in terms of areas of compliance. So you tick a box and you feel that, oh, I've done that report, I've conducted that workshop, or I have made sure that I do not put the hands in the till of the public service, which in itself is good, by the way, but it is a means to an end, which end is treating citizens with dignity and ensuring that they receive the services that they expect on time, and making sure that the resources, every cent that is meant to go to the citizens in order to improve their lives, actually goes there. So there are a number of areas of relationships amongst the public servants themselves with the public servants, but also just that lack of innovation in terms of the way that we approach delivery of service. Just an example of that lack of innovation. For example, you'll find that a lot of frontline services, just for an example, Home Affairs, you find that a service closes at 3:30 in the afternoon, which is maybe just an hour before many of the people who work are able to come out and go and get that service. And none of it almost is provided on Saturdays, which is when they can. Now, the lack of innovation there is much as you have to oblige and make sure that in terms of the Labor Relations Act, people work an 8-hour day. There's nothing that stops management making sure that that 8-hour day is staggered, such that some people start at 9, others at 11, and even some at 12, so that you are able not to tick a box and say, oh, today I saw people and they applied for IDs, but you're also supposed to actually connect the dot as to how in conducting and in providing that service, you really enable ordinary citizens, all of them, to access the service at a time that they are able to, that is convenient to them, but also contribute to an effective economy that is not forcing people to come out of work in order to access your service. So that kind of lack of innovation points to how, in an environment that is legislated, that requires a lot of compliance, like the public service, then we've tended just to tick the box. This is what I'm going to do, tick the box, it's done, and not ask, I am expected to do this, but what impact is it having on the citizen and on the country as a whole? So some of the issues that we have picked up are relating to that. But what I think when people say every cloud has its silver lining, perhaps that's what COVID has done in this space.
Madam Commissioner, really...
In that, where there's been lack of innovation, the COVID-19 experience has actually pushed the public service to innovate a bit more, even to use information technologies where many people were a bit reluctant to try that out.
Madam Commissioner, I really appreciate the time. I'm afraid we do have to leave it there. Thank you. Phumelele Nzimande is a Commissioner at the Public Service Commission.